London, 1888. The streets of Whitechapel were cloaked in darkness and fear. The gas lamps barely pierced through the thick fog, and whispers of a brutal killer lurking in the alleys echoed through the city. A name would soon be etched into the history books: Jack the Ripper. More than a century later, the question remains: who was he? And has modern science finally unmasked one of the most terrifying killers the world has ever known? Between August and November of 1888, 5 women were found murdered in gruesome and disturbing ways. They were Mary Ann Nichols, Annie Chapman, Elizabeth Stride, Catherine Eddowes, and Mary Jane Kelly. These murders took place within a small area of London's East End. All victims were women working in poverty, many in the sex trade. The killer displayed surgical precision and left no clues behind. No one saw him. No one heard him. He vanished into the night after every killing, leaving the city terrified and baffled. Over the years, the case attracted more than 100 suspects. Some were serious, others borderline absurd. One of the earliest suspects was Montague John Druitt, a schoolteacher and barrister whose sudden suicide shortly after the last Ripper murder raised suspicions. Then there was Prince Albert Victor, the grandson of Queen Victoria. Rumors swirled about royal involvement, secret children, and a massive cover-up to protect the crown. But no evidence ever surfaced strong enough to link the prince to the crimes. Another key suspect, and the one who has returned to headlines in recent years, was Aaron Kosminski, a Polish Jewish barber who lived in Whitechapel at the time of the murders. Kosminski was known to suffer from mental illness and was institutionalized shortly after the Ripper killings ended. But for over a century, his name remained just one of many on a long list, until something remarkable happened in 2014. In that year, researchers claimed they had discovered mitochondrial DNA on a shawl believed to have been found near the body of Catherine Eddowes, one of the Ripper's victims. That shawl had been passed down through generations and was tested by a team of scientists. Their results reportedly showed a DNA match with living descendants of both Catherine Eddowes and Aaron Kosminski. It was presented as a breakthrough, proof that the Ripper had finally been unmasked. However, the excitement didn't last long. Critics quickly pointed out that the shawl's origin was questionable. There was no formal record of it being at the crime scene in 1888. The testing methods were also criticized for lacking peer review, and the use of mitochondrial DNA only narrows the match to a maternal line, not a specific individual. Still, the theory added fuel to the fire. Could Aaron Kosminski really be Jack the Ripper? To understand how he could have gotten away with it, we have to consider the time period. In 1888, forensic science was almost non-existent. There were no fingerprints, no DNA testing, no security cameras. Crime scene preservation was poorly handled, and police records were inconsistent at best. The press was also to blame, often sensationalizing stories, encouraging panic, and publishing false leads. In a city already filled with poverty, immigrants, and crime, Jack the Ripper blended into the crowd. Kosminski was eventually institutionalized. He suffered from auditory hallucinations, believed people were trying to harm him, and refused to bathe or eat. Despite his deteriorating condition, he was never formally charged with any crime. Interestingly, Scotland Yard's top detective, Sir Melville Macnaghten, wrote in a confidential report that Kosminski was strongly suspected. Yet the case never moved forward. So, was Aaron Kosminski truly Jack the Ripper? The DNA evidence may suggest a link, but without stronger proof, the case remains officially unsolved. New suspects, theories, and books continue to emerge even today. Some believe Jack the Ripper was a collective effort, a doctor, or even a woman. Others argue that the truth was buried long ago, intentionally or otherwise. What's certain is that Jack the Ripper changed history. He was one of the first serial killers to be hunted by modern police and one of the first to become an international media sensation.